The quad bike has become the workhorse of the Australian farmer. About 300,000 of them are used across the country. But there are growing concerns about their safety. So far this year, quad bike accidents have killed 15 people and seriously injured dozens more. Workplace health and safety organisations want crush protection devices fitted to quad bikes, but the vehicle manufacturers believe safety awareness should be the focus. As Tracy Bowden reports, it's pretty confusing for the public.
John Horton reckons he's lucky to be alive. The Victorian farmer sees his quad bike as an essential tool of the trade, but it nearly killed him.
As soon as it started to go, I felt the back go underneath me and the front come out. Handlebars coming down, I thought, I'm gone here. This is it. I'm dead.
He was rushed to hospital suffering horrific injuries.
I was in there for a month, 2 weeks in intensive care, 8 days in a coma, and suffered 16 broken ribs, fractured scapula in 3 places, and a ruptured spleen, and 2 cardiac arrests.
John Horton could so easily have become a statistic.
He was killed when the quad bike he was riding rolled on top of him.
Police say a 24-year-old was riding this quad bike along the beach with friends when it hit a wet patch of sand and rolled.
15 people have been killed in accidents on quad bikes, or as they're also called, all-terrain vehicles, so far this year. That's more than the annual average for the past decade. The fatalities have ignited a debate about how to prevent or at least reduce quad bike accidents.
The industry has blood on their hands. It's just unbelievable that an industry that's supposed to be responsible, supposed to be interested in the welfare of the people that buy their devices, won't do something about it.
If operators are trained, use appropriate levels of protective equipment, especially a helmet, then they are a very safe piece of equipment.
There are instances where people do misuse the bikes potentially, and there are deaths that result. However, by far and away, the majority of people actually use the bikes quite responsibly.
Tony Lower from Sydney University's Australian Centre for Agricultural Health and Safety has been analysing data on quad bike deaths. He says almost half are the result of rollovers.
The person becomes entrapped under the vehicle and therefore suffers from that asphyxiation where they can't breathe and or the crush injury.
And that's as far as I can go.
Engineer John Lambert has more than 40 years' experience in agricultural safety. He's convinced that if rollover or crush protection systems were fitted, there would be a dramatic reduction in deaths and injuries.
It is in concept no different to the frame that's fitted on most small tractors or tractors without cabins. If it rolls, it only rolls onto its side. You're unlikely to be trapped underneath, and if you are trapped, you're much more likely to be able to move the quad bike in some way and get out from underneath.
5 years ago, Queensland inventor David Robertson developed the quad bar, the only commercially available crush protection device for quad bikes made in Australia.
You just can't continue allowing people to die like this. It's the most horrendous death being crushed underneath the quad bike. It can take up to 5 hours to be crushed to death, and it's excruciatingly painful.
A Trans-Tasman quad bike safety group has supported calls for the devices to be fitted to all quad bikes. Organisations including the New South Wales Farmers Association, Victoria Police and New South Wales National Parks also want change.
They misunderstand the research, they misunderstand the safety claims that are being made in particular, and in our view, those safety claims need to be addressed and challenged.
As a general rule, if the hill is too steep to walk up, it's too steep for your ATV.
The group representing motorcycle manufacturers, the Federal Chamber of Automotive Industries, has launched a campaign warning against the devices. The punchline, we won't have a bar of it, and neither should you.
The industry's view is that they certainly can't be made safer by the addition of a rollover protection system.
Perry Morrison from Suzuki Motorcycles Australia says research doesn't support the safety benefit of rollover protection systems or ROPS.
The injury risk is often equal to or greater than the injury benefit. So in layman's terms, what it shows that if a quad bike or an ATV is involved in an accident, specifically and particularly a rollover, that having a large metal obstacle bolted to the machine can often cause quite severe damage to the rider.
My name is John Zellner, and I've been asked to summarise research on rollover protection systems.
The industry points to studies by John Zellner at Dynamic Research Incorporated in California, but his findings have been challenged by independent engineers in Australia.
Interesting enough, when they evaluated the Australian-designed quad bar, his actual research shows that there's a reduction in injuries and deaths. But then he has this totally unbelievable way of evaluating the benefits of a safety device, which nobody else in the world uses, to show that it's still not good enough.
The WorkSafe groups have actually said that the industry has got blood on its hands because it hasn't installed a device that could improve safety.
Well, it's a view that we disagree with.
It's a strong criticism, though.
I think it's an unfair criticism, quite frankly.
So when the companies say that they have made the vehicles as safe as they believe they can, is that correct and is that good enough?
No, it's not correct because they're still killing people. We've still got deaths and serious injuries, so they haven't gone far enough.
Rafael Jabieta from the New South Wales Injury Risk Management Research Centre believes the unfortunate result of all this debate is a confused public. So why do you think there are those two so opposing views?
I think it has a lot to do with litigation. I think if the industry admits that it doesn't have a suitable design for rollover, and if they provide any design, then I think they wind up opening the floodgates in terms of civil action for product liability.
If you decided to fit them, would it be feasible that people who'd had accidents in the past could then attempt to take legal action?
Don't see any circumstance in which we would decide to fit such a device.
18 months after his accident, John Horton is back on his quad bike, but with a rollover protection device fitted.
I think safety first, they should have some sort of roll protection, because I really feel that would have saved a lot of my injuries.
I'd like to see funds invested in identifying the mechanisms by which people are being killed and injured, and then appropriate designs, researchers working together with the industry, trying to address the problem and trying to find a solution.
Tracy Bowden reporting.